Cabbage, Howie Mandel. They act up when the sun goes down.
Hi, I'm Denise Crosby from Pets.
All right, that sounds fun. One of the bumpers in the latest batch I made, I like did it all wrong and it was all screwed up, and I didn't know until we aired it.
Oops.
And so now I need to make more, but I've been going through the ones we made, but I don't know which one I screwed up. So, all right, and then I gotta post this on Patreon. Then I can close this. I think I'm gonna start. I watched House of the Devil, the Joe Bob version today.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna, I'm just working from home. I'm running out of comfort food movies to watch. I might just watch through all of that Last Drive-In stuff again, like starting with the first marathon.
Yeah.
Like, why not? I throw stuff on all day while I'm working, you know? Stuff, even when I don't love the movies, it still gives me like warm and fuzzies. This is called Dogtooth.
Yes, Dogtooth.
So this is interesting. I'll bring it up on the show, but some of the posters say canine.
Huh.
Which would make sense since it's about the tooth. Yeah, like the literal tooth.
The canine teeth.
It's just interesting. In English, though. So, like, either it was called something else in English and then changed, or they called it the English word.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Amazon shit in my cornflakes. They delivered my package to somebody else and then posted a picture of it on their porch. Bastards.
Okay. We are live.
Hello, Internet.
Hey, Laura. We were talking about frequency in the show last week.
Oh, you were going to talk to me about that because I heard that.
I was telling people how we watched it when we first started dating.
That is like one of my favorite movies.
I don't remember why. It was relevant to the time travel aspect of the movie we watched. Oh, Fantasy Island. That's what it was. It's not very good. Yeah, so I watched, let's see, House of the Devil, which I don't love, but is way more watchable with the Joe Bob intervals.
Yeah.
Because what's nice is like the problem with that movie is there's too long of a stretch where literally nothing happens. So
yeah,
it's nice because then you just have to make it to the next break.
Yeah, I rewatched House of the Devil though. It's been some months back, but I actually liked it more the second time.
You know, there is a craft to his movies that I can very much appreciate. It is, I think, a tough movie to watch just on its own without the Joe Bob stuff.
Yeah, you definitely got to be in the right headspace to enjoy it.
And then I watched Creepshow today, which is always like a summer staple for me.
We're in the middle. We're still been rewatching all of 30 Rock and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think Brooklyn Nine-Nine may be my version of The Office for you.
Yeah.
Love that show.
Oh, I know what I want to do. I find Joe's Animal Crossing avatar to be the fucking funniest thing I've ever seen. And I'm going to make John look at it live on stream. You got to see this, Laura. He literally, He has lady shoes on. I sent Jamie a picture to confirm. She goes, "Those are Mary Jane's." That's his Animal Crossing character. You see the shoes? Oh yeah, just like my daughter's. Yeah, my daughter's the same shoes in the closet. It's up here. He's wearing those shoes but red.
Nice.
We have them in pink too.
So that'll be fun.
Wait, let me see the rest of it.
Like the sailor outfit, it's so creepy. Oh, are there more people on? Is that what I'm getting? Nope, nobody yet.
Who's that?
That's
Who's the name?
John's wife.
That's
I
John's
didn't post a
wife?
picture.
Wait, John's wife
Different
is on
John.
Animal Crossing? Oh. I want to see that. Did he write that?
No, those are just, this is the game's jokes. Oh, this is me.
Oh yeah. Do you always wear that?
No, that's when you're doing the construction stuff. You wear the hat. It's how you know you're in the like construction mode. This is probably really interesting for the live audience.
Oh.
I'm trying to find. There was definitely an even funnier picture of Joe. I'm trying to find it. I did. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Come here and look at this one.
The glasses. No, I have those glasses. You can actually recreate.
The whole outfit.
Yeah, we can recreate that whole outfit. Oh wait.
Well, it's just funny because it's Joe. So I don't know how you left the subreddit, right, or our subpage there. So Joe posted a picture of himself, and somebody was like, "Joe, you don't have pants on," and he's like, "What do you mean?" He thought he had white shorts on, but he had like the underclothing on. Hey, John. Whoa, Schnars, your hair, dude. We're live. B-tubs.
Yeah, it's getting long. I might have to go get my clip.
Did you wear that? Did you wear that sparkly clean undershirt just for me?
Yeah, I wore this to work today. I don't know
nice.
why you would.
We met.
Comments.
We met our new GM today via he was in our department meeting, via Zoom Teams or whatever, and so I wore I put on like a short sleeve button up shirt, which I don't do normally, and then as soon as he got off the call, I literally on the call was like unbuttoning my shirt and throwing it away.
I had one on the other. I'm gonna have to wear something. I have a board meeting tomorrow. I'm gonna have to wear something nice, but yeah. I gotta find. Yeah, I'll be right back. I assume we're waiting. Well, Joe's on too. You can add him.
Jojo.
Hey-o.
Nice shirt.
Thanks.
Does anybody have? Obviously, we're gonna hit the topic off the top of the show. Does anybody have other things for the back end of the show? We do have like 4 or 5 really solid emails. Some of them that'll start some discussion. So, and it's possible. Is there Ask BGH stragglers that we didn't cover or no?
No, there isn't.
Okay. It's probably a good call. Social media is weird right now. Might as well let the other post simmer.
It felt weird us posting a link to our article and then at any point having hey, send us wacky questions about.
Hey, can you explain to me what it is we're doing for this website? Because I don't understand.
All they need us to do is record audio or video of us asking that question. So like, pretty much, remember Tony Todd at our thing?
Yeah, so who is the outfit again?
It is...
John, do you have a lady barrette in your hair?
Yeah, man, this is my clip. Wow. I don't have a man clip. I have my wife's clip. What do you want from me?
You should put a bandana on. That'd be cool.
I do have a hat. But...
I do have a bandana in the living room. That's what I've been using to keep it out of my face.
I trimmed my beard.
I have like tennis, like headbands, like sweatbands that I've been wearing running.
The 70.
Oh,
Oh, I saw
yeah.
you ended after the marathon. Remember you had the sunburn?
Yeah, exactly.
I got a haircut.
I was gonna
Nice.
say, Joe, it looks. Wait, so did you go to an actual barber?
Yeah, they so we're in phase 3 here. So barbershops can open. It was like I was really nervous about going, but actually like I felt super safe when I was there. You had to wait in the car until they called you. There was only like 3 people allowed in the store at the time. They took your temperature like as
Oh,
you were
wow.
walking in, and like literally sanitized everything right before they used it on me and then right after. So
Yeah.
it was also like day 2 that they were doing it, so I feel like they were like overly cautious. Like 2 weeks in, they may start to get laxed, but I felt like
Yeah, it's fair. That's good.
Oh, Cece's on too. We're live, BT Dubs.
word. So it is the name of the
Sup? CZ, are you on the floor? Is it just like that? What?
Yes,
Uh,
Oh, okay.
John, you just got mega CC faced right there.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, it
It's
it
already
froze
started.
a little. I didn't even get the full face.
Cece, how long have
No.
you had that like cocaine?
Yeah.
The bar.
No, well, it's kind of like an armoire.
Oh.
I don't know. It was
Did you win that
leftover
from like a
someone.
Scarface auction or?
Yeah, I did. It was only $20, to be honest.
Oh.
All right, I just gotta go potty, and then we'll start.
How are you?
I'd like to wait till the last
8:05?
second, John. That way I know I'm good. Okay. Well, how long have we been doing this? Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I poured a probably too large glass of whiskey to talk about this movie, but
I have a gin and tonic,
You
and then I
think
have
you
a
should
refill.
Be sober.
well, here we are. That went out the window a long time ago.
Mm.
So
I understand about indecision. I don't care if I get behind. People living in competition. All I want is to have my peace of mind. You like that, John?
it was nice.
Take a look ahead.
One cat.
Where's the puppers? That's what I want to see. What do we,
She's eating dinner.
Casey, your hair is getting long as well.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. The scariest thing though is the longer it gets, the whiter it gets.
Oh yeah. I don't have that issue right now, but one day. My sister's like pretty white. My younger sister has a lot of gray hair. So
Yeah, I know. I got a friend at work that I worked with. He's been there as long. He was there when I started, and he was like 19 when I first met him, and he was full gray then.
I mean, at that point, that's like a whole different thing, you know?
Yeah.
So
Oh, hi.
okay.
That's my Joe. That's my impression of Joe impersonating Borat. Is that Borat? Is that? Oh, hi,
Oh,
everybody.
hi?
Who's that?
I don't know.
Who's
Oh,
that?
hi.
Oh, hi,
Oh,
everybody.
hi. Oh, hi.
You're just saying shit.
It's a
That's
bit
like
you do, I don't
Fargo
know.
or something.
Oh, I know what I want to talk about. I want to talk about our rerun.
Oh, yeah.
The rerun last week. I actually don't have
I know
Netflix
I'm
to-
big, but I really don't want you guys calling me rerun.
You're right. I get that joke.
Familiar with? Was that Good Times?
Yeah.
I know you haven't thought about Bloody Horror in 2 weeks, John, but we put an episode out. Took some
stop
work.
it. Yeah.
Uh,
Wait, so was it just was there a guest on that episode? Because Mark wasn't on.
Andy.
Andy.
Mr. Andy.
Rerun was on What's Happening also. Good Times was JJ Walker.
Wow.
Okay.
Temporary layoffs. Good times.
Thanks for fleshing out my bad joke, Joe.
John, are you comfortable with just leading this opening discussion? You're like, I'll get us into the show. Like, I'm probably gonna jump in and interrupt you, but I know how to start it. I want you to start so I can interrupt you, I guess is what I'm saying.
I mean, so just to like say it up front, like I don't think we actually need to say anything other than like
I think
acknowledge
we should say
are...
something briefly and then point to the site
and point to it. I mean, like I just want to like acknowledge that things are going on in the country.
Yes,
and it would be weird. I just feel like it's like a weird thing for us to not mention. So I
agree.
I
agree, and I might as well just get out of the way.
I would say just direct them to the post we had on the site that has like links that they can use and leave it at that.
What I'm saying is there's got to be a little bit of specificity as to what the post says, not cryptic like you're guessing which side we're on.
Everything I want to say in the post.
There's
That's my only point, and then we can move on.
Yes.
There's something on the site. Go read it.
This is just an advertisement for our website. Have you heard of it?
Temporary layoffs. Easy credit ripoffs.
All this crap was like going down last night, and but my boss told me to take the night off, so I muted that text conversation and went to bed.
We're lucky we got 'em.
Okay. I think we're ready. Cece, do you have any when we get to the back of the show, is there any book club stuff just to mention, like what we're doing and stuff?
I think that Alyssa has just started the Terror with the group.
Okay.
So do you know that?
I think
I'll
so,
double
to
check
be honest.
and be ready.
Yeah, that is what they're reading.
Okay.
I'm still on the like April book.
Cece, you just sound a little muted. Can you? I'm just curious. I want to make sure you're on the right mic. Can you get closer wherever the mic is so I can hear it?
Put your mouth
I mean,
directly onto the microphone.
Don't. Say
There
that,
you
John.
go. No, that was better.
Is it it's this thing?
Up here, then.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Stand by.
Welcome to Bloody Good Horror.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Bloody Good Horror. We are back. We took a week off. We're back in the house this week because John hates me. We are reviewing his staff pick of Dogtooth by, help me with this guy's name, John, Yorgos?
I just call him Yorgos. I believe it's Lanthimos is his last name.
Known around BGH parts as ya boy Yorgos.
The bad guy in Ghostbusters too, I believe, also.
Yeah, Vigo the Yorgos. So Dogtooth is the name of the movie. This is an art house film. That's all you need to know. It's going to be a very interesting discussion, so you should stick around. Joining me tonight, first up, the first lady of Bloody Good Horror. Please welcome Cece to the show.
Hello.
Next up on the show, from Indiana, please welcome Casey.
Hello.
There it is. From Chicago, Illinois, don't tell the COVID police. He got a haircut. Please welcome Joe to the show.
We're in phase 3.
Yeah.
It's perfectly legal. I followed all cautions.
I think
He's making a political statement with his haircut right now.
I think in Massachusetts we just entered phase 2, which is like a tease. It's like nothing good.
As far as like important things in this world, it's my hair at the top, reopening businesses number 2.
Yeah.
All right.
It's fair.
Um,
That's fair.
And last up tonight, your and my business manager. Please welcome John Schnartz to the show, wearing what I expect all business managers wear, which is his daughter's barrette in his hair.
Hold on. This is an adult size barrette.
Oh, it's an adult lady barrette?
Yeah, it's my wife's.
Got it.
Yeah.
You know hats
John.
exist, right?
John, you're slowly turning into my Animal Crossing character.
Joe, that
That's
might
cool. I
actually.
take that as a compliment.
Joe, that may
Are you
actually.
wearing girl shoes?
Joe, that may actually be on my list of topics for later, but we'll get to that.
I'm actually just wearing underwear like Joe's Animal Crossing character, so don't worry about it.
Oh boy, so Dogtooth should be an interesting discussion. We'll get to that in a little bit. First up, we wanted to, before we get like too deep into the show here, just acknowledge John. We want to acknowledge current events. It's hard not to, obviously.
Yeah. Great segue.
There's no
segue
listen.
there.
It's a horror podcast. There's no good segue.
No, I mean, look, we're here. We're doing the show today in a week where a lot of people maybe have made, I know Tuesday was Blackout Tuesday. We're actually recording on a Wednesday, so I feel like we were respectful of at least that situation. No, I mean, there's just a lot of.
Well, we haven't really been tweeting either.
I just assumed Joe was being lazy.
I know you don't know
okay.
what happens on our
Fair
social
enough.
media, but
Fair enough. No, I mean, we're living through what to my mind is like one of the, I don't know, most difficult sort of times for American society. I don't even know exactly how to position it, but there's been a culmination of a lot of really terrible things. Obviously, they've been happening historically, whatever. We don't need to get into it. But I think we just wanted to acknowledge it because while it's not something we're here to necessarily talk about or really like we want to go on with the show, we want to have a good time. We want people who listen to the show to kind of have a good time, but it felt strange to not acknowledge what's going on.
Right. It's like
where we stand.
It's like we know that people don't come here for this stuff, but also it's become clear in the last week that we are in a moment in history where to be silent is not an option. So we had Andy, who is by far the most eloquent of anyone at Bloody Good Horror. We had him. He just kind of drafted up a statement, in support of protesters, in support of Black Lives Matter. We looked into some charities, and we provide some links to some places if you're looking to help out. And also just like, silence isn't really an option right now. And so we wanted to kind of put our voice into the mix. And that's why we wanted to talk about it off the top of the show. We can move on from there. It's at bloodygoodhorror.com if you're interested. Horror podcasters do not have the answers, John. But we at least want to be, stand up and be counted.
Well, no, but like we can be part of, the support and we're,
Well, part of the
we're here for
solution,
that.
the solution starts with making sure everyone in your life knows it's not okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's I agree.
And that happens
I
by
agree.
the message. That happens by the message being omnipresent.
Even on your horror podcasts of choice.
Exactly. So there it is. Okay.
Let's talk about incest.
You know what I have been doing a lot in the last week, Joe?
What's that, buddy?
Drinking. It helps. So with that said, please let us know what we are drinking this week.
Listen, actually, can I interrupt? I want Joe to only pick. Yeah. We need to stop the music because I just thought about this. Because Joe constantly talked about how I was pregnant before I was actually pregnant. I think all of Joe's drinks should now be non-alcoholic because I can't drink them.
Wow. I mean,
I don't think we've actually discussed this on the show, right? That CC. is
no,
with
we haven't.
child.
In fact, there were 5 minutes before the show where I said, hey, are there any topics we should talk about tonight? And Cece was silent.
I didn't think about it then. I thought about it right now.
Honestly, if there's any way it was gonna come out, I am honestly a little misty. It might be the menopause, but the fact that Cece would interrupt my section.
Well, I think I speak for everyone when I say congratulations, Cece.
Yes.
Yay!
Thanks.
Uh,
Only I apologize for interrupting.
We
Joe,
all
but
look forward to you being as grumpy as all of us when you have to deal with
Yeah.
children. So
It's happening. If you can't
No.
already tell.
Do not apologize. I feel like there's no better way that this could have happened. So I will look into for next weekend. You know what, Cece? The first one, my kid loves, and I did when I was a kid, Shirley Temple, which is
True,
what
that's a good-
It's like
7-Up.
It's like 7-Up and grenadine, basically. That's and,
Yeah,
and a cherry.
and maraschino cherries. So, next week I'll do a little research for you, and we'll do the baby cocktails. But I, much like Kyle probably right now, am still very much drinking. And if there's one thing I discovered when my wife was pregnant for the first time, a pregnant wife means 9 months of a designated driver, which is pretty solid.
Is
If
that
we're going places, maybe.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's not gonna
Yeah,
get a
valid
chance.
point. But anyway, Dogtooth.
Wait, hold on. Joe, please tell us what we are drinking tonight.
Beer guts.
And
Gotta get it in.
that happened in a way that I'm now not going to be able to cut out the other one.
No, absolutely. I feel like that.
It's gold. Just leave it in. Just let it go.
Yeah.
Do it live.
Dogtooth, a heartwarming rom-com, I guess you could call it, John.
I actually was gonna say this is a movie about parenting, so it's perfect for
Yeah,
CC.
cue it up. Were you taking notes?
It's like Flowers in the Attic, but sexier.
Oh God.
But anyway, the gist of it is these parents are keeping their kids not imprisoned.
Yes.
I don't know. I guess that's the right word. But like, they don't
Mentally-
really understand that they're imprisoned. Like,
No, they Joe, here, hold on, really quick.
They're
They've been
being-
gaslit.
they're-
They've been
yeah.
gaslighted their entire lives.
They're being
They're-
they're being villaged.
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. So, in honor, doesn't seem like the right word of that. I picked a beer from a local spot around here, Villa Park, Illinois. This is More Brewing Company's Best Kept Secret.
Wow,
Which
that's weirdly also tangential to CC's news. That's actually kind of amazing.
Again, this is a local spot, More Brewing. They don't distribute very far, so you kind of got to make the trip here, which you might as well. You got time. Just drive over, get your pickup, and then turn around. But super, really great brewery. This is an Imperial or a double New England IPA. So obviously I've done a ton of IPAs. I've done, a handful of double IPAs. Really just means that they kind of upped the alcohol content here. They ton of ingredients that just make it a bigger, better, sexier boy. IPA, a lot of like pineapple and citrus in this. I really enjoy it. Double IPAs or Imperial, sometimes I have trouble with because you get a lot of that alcohol burn. This one you definitely do not. Comes in at about 8.3% alcohol though, so it's definitely up there, and you'll have a good time if you down a few of these. Yeah, so pineapple, a lot of like sort of vanilla on the end, which is what you kind of get in some of these New England IPAs, which again I've talked about a bunch of times, but not super over the top with the bitterness, but definitely that hop kind of comes through. So I find they're a lot more drinkable than a lot of just kind of traditional West Coast IPA. So I'm a big fan of this one. What is their website? Morebrewing.com is their website, and definitely if you're in the area, check them out, or just go support your local brewery too. And
Nice.
yeah, there you go.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Have you heard about this thing? I heard the story. Okay, let me preface this by saying if you told me the story, I apologize. My memory is bad. However, I think I heard this on NPR about how all these Canadian farmers are like getting screwed now because when the huge 7, 8, 9 years ago when IPAs started blowing up, a lot of these Canadian farmers dug up their field and started growing hops.
Right.
Except now the dominant style is this New England American IPA, and they apparently use proprietary strains of hops that these Canadian growers cannot grow because of some legal, or it's either legal or ecological. I don't know. For all I know, it could be like a Monsanto situation where they're genetically copyrighted strains of things. But basically,
I would hate to think that's what's happening to the craft beer
Well-
industry, but all right.
really,
Yeah.
John, it's everywhere. But anyway, these farmers are screwed now because they have all these hops and no one to buy them. So I thought that was interesting because
I think
apparently
the good people at AB InBev would take those off their
because
hands. if they-
according to the story, even the Canadian brewers don't want them because they also want these American hops.
Interesting. No, I haven't heard that, but I mean, just in general, there's been a lot of news lately that obviously these breweries are hurting because of
Right,
COVID and
yeah.
a lot of the smaller places being shut down. But also, I mean, there's just been a huge shift to like seltzers and low carb and
so
like
good.
beer in general is on a pretty hefty decline. So
Interesting,
I mean,
yeah.
a lot of these breweries are hurting to begin with. So I would definitely see that probably as not really helping the hop industry.
Not your local brewery, though, right? I bet you're keeping them in business.
I honestly have been supporting them more than I have in like the last year, but
Yeah, this beer's on the decline.
yeah. Oh, hey!
That beer looks so tiny in your hand, Casey.
Yeah, I know. It's like, that
It's
picture
like
of
Andre the Giant. Like,
yeah. Exactly.
All right, guys, it is time. Let's take a quick break and review Dogtooth.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. Stop the prime time. Main feature.
Interesting thing about this movie, John.
Yes. do
When I
tell.
was looking at posters, some posters had the English title as canine instead of Dogtooth, which obviously once you see the movie, it's pretty literal. But I like Dogtooth better because it sounds weird. But I think it's interesting that the poster I saw was in English. So like, did the English title of this movie change, or did they use the English word in some of the foreign titles? I wonder.
Well, like the word, so Dogtooth. in
No, I understand
movie,
it means the same thing.
Yeah, it's like
But
I guess we call it the canine.
What I'm
technically,
saying
but
is,
maybe, yeah.
what I'm saying is, it changed at some point.
Oh, that's interesting. I had not seen that.
What do you know?
Cool, good story.
John, you know words. Maybe not
Sometimes.
maybe not a good time to bring this up, but you went to Duke University. Enough said.
Leading light.
They taught
of
you.
education.
They taught you
read.
stuff there. We may in fact have heard from one of your professors later, but we'll see.
Oh.
John, please bring us the word of the day.
Eric, today's word, affectation. AFFECTATION, affectation. Behavior, speech, or writing that is artificial and designed to impress. It can also mean a studied display of real or pretended feeling. It comes to us from, as you can probably guess, the Latin.
Designed to impress actually really well sums up my thoughts on this movie. Just I would have used different language, but that's actually kind of nails it.
All right. Let's not editorialize too much yet. The Latin affectare, mid 16th century, and here we are. I assume affectare means what we kind of assume that it means with affect and all. So yeah, I mean, the word here, if you are looking for a connection, and I'm sure we're going to get into it, our friend Yorgos, director Yorgos Lanthimos, he definitely has a style. It's not really even it is a style of acting that he prefers or that he draws out of the talent that he works with. And so this is his second full-length feature. This was like his breakout movie. It won awards at Cannes. It was actually nominated for the Best Picture or Best Foreign Language Picture Oscar in 2009.
This guy, correct me if I'm wrong, he also did Killing of a Sacred Deer. Now, was that before or after this?
No. So this is sort of his breakout. The Lobster was the film that came after this, and then there was a movie in between. But then he did The Lobster.
Okay, so this isn't new.
No, this is an old film.
Interesting.
2009, right? I think.
Yeah. This is his. I don't want to say first. I mean, if you want to get into why I picked the movie, it's because I'd seen basically everything after The Lobster. So Lobster, Sacred Deer, and then he had a Best Picture nomination and Best Director nomination 2 years ago for The Favorite, which won, I believe, the Best Supporting Actress Oscar for Olivia
Dukakis.
Yes. I was going to say Olivia Newton, but I got thrown over.
Olivia Newton-John. Yeah, that's right.
Joe,
you're right.
Joe, I think you meant Olympia.
Olympia? Is that her name?
Wasn't her name Olympia Dukakis?
Yes,
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah. So weirdly close.
Yeah. But,
Joe's Googling
no,
it. I
but
can
so-
see him.
Oh, Olivia Colman. Sorry, Olivia Colman was the Oscar winner from. In any event, I'd seen several. I'd seen all of his most recent films, and this was kind of the breakout that I really wanted to check out. And it's funny because I would not have thought of watching it, but I was actually scrolling through Shudder looking for things that we could do that could be Steph picks, and this popped up. And I was like, holy shit, I've been meaning to watch this movie, and it's on Shudder, because I hadn't necessarily thought of it as a horror movie. It's on Shudder.
That was your-
Ergo,
that was
it is
your-
definitely a horror
That was
film,
your
and-
out,
and
basically.
Here we are.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see. Joe, how's Olympia Dukakis doing? I saw you Googling over there.
I was, because I wasn't sure if she was even an actress. Turns out she is.
Oh yeah.
Olympia Dukakis?
Yeah, she was in Look Who's Talking. And Steel Magnolia, Moonstruck. Huh.
She's a treasure.
Amazing.
Did you know who
career.
she was?
No, I don't. I know names. I don't know. Like,
No.
honestly, I got scared that like she was some politician's wife or something. Who am I thinking of? Who's Dukakis?
Michael
He
Dukakis.
ran for president.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know what his wife's name is though.
Olympia, apparently.
Wouldn't
Wouldn't it be weird if it was?
Extended Dukakis clan.
Wouldn't it be weird if it was Olivia?
Olympia's like, man, Olympia's a bold name choice. Anyway, John, is that everything you know about this movie?
Well, no, I mean, so yeah, that's more or less. I mean,
Okay, tell
so
me-
This was made for 250,000 euro, so it's
Oh.
super low budget. It was, like I said, I mean, it won the whatever film day certain regard at Cannes.
Palme d'Or.
That's
It
weird.
did
I
not
didn't even
no,
know you could pay for a movie in gyros. Is he Greek?
He is Greek. He is Greek.
Yeah, you tip with the tzatziki sauce.
So is Olympia Dukakis, actually. So yeah, this is all coming together.
Interesting. His name is actually Georgios, but he goes by Yorgos, which I actually prefer.
Yorgos is dope. That's why. John, I want you to right now tell me what this movie's about. Tell me what you think this movie's about.
I think Joe might have pinged me earlier and was joking that you could either synopsize this movie in 7 words or like 17 minutes.
Yeah.
But
Start the clock.
you sort of already did, right? Like the premise of the film is you have a family of 5 people. It's a father, a mother, and then you have 3 children. There's an oldest daughter, a middle son, and then a youngest daughter. And the children are essentially adults in the film, but they have been infantilized or they have been gaslighted. They've been brainwashed by their parents and live within this compound in sort of the Greek, I don't know, exurbs or like deep suburbs. And they just live these like really fucked up lives. And that's, so the first sequence of the first scene of the film, because I think it's worth talking about and that kind of tees up the rest, is we see the son, who's the middle child, having sex with a woman who we come to learn is a security guard at his father's factory. And that's like a 10-minute scene. It's pretty strange. And so yeah, I mean, the rest of the film kind of goes from there, right? These kids never
It's
leave.
upsetting, right? The only thing my dad ever brought home from his office was like a computer for me to play on.
I mean, essentially, the father and the mother have them 100% isolated from the outside world, and in very like village. First of all, we don't know why. Maybe they said that, but I couldn't tell you.
It's child abuse, right? Like there's no explanation.
They
given.
do it in a very village-like way by basically gaslighting them to believe there are dangers on the other side of the fence, but they are now adolescents, and
They're not
you know,
adolescents. They're like full-grown adults. in this
well,
film.
teenagers, 20-something, whatever. But my point is, they are like,
Dear
you
God,
know.
I hope they were over 18 based on what we just watched.
Well, okay, that's a good point. That's a good point. But what I'm saying is that like they've had absolutely no, with the exception of the son, they've either had no sex education or like very warped, twisted sex education from the father,
Well,
because we see that he is doing the same weird shit he's teaching his kids, right? And they also have no interaction with the outside world, so they have these inappropriately affectionate relationships with each other where they're doing this weird shit to each other that I don't even think the youngest daughter especially, we'll get into it, but it's like it's not even clear that she understands what sex is, but she understands there's like certain things she can do to get things she wants. But it's not even.
You really want to go into this because like I was ready to stop.
It's important.
No,
to whatever
it
the
is,
fuck this
but
movie is.
I know, and a lot of the movie does end up being about their like kind of sexual exploration or kind of like
But
awakening.
basically, yeah, the father is insanely weird. He's trapped his
Yes.
kids in the house, and because they only have interaction with him and the mother, the kids are insanely weird. But there's a sort of set of circumstances that they're rebelling in small ways that's causing the story to kind of ripple and chaos.
Yes. But I think what's interesting, and again, we cut the synopsis of this, is like a lot of what the parents want is for them to be a normal family, or quote unquote, right? So there's a lot of scenes of them like doing sort of family things, like they eat dinner together, and then they have time where they all listen to music together. Like they just, it's not the film ends up being is fairly sexual, obviously, but the relationships that they've tried to craft are not explicitly about that, although the film is. I don't know, it's strange.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe.
Yes, it is. Cece, what'd you think?
I feel like the jury's still out on that. Did I enjoy this movie? No. I mean, I didn't mind the killing of a sacred deer. Like, I kind of understood like the subtext and like what was going on there, or like kind of the plot. I mean, I got to an extent the like, I guess after Joe compared it to Flowers in the Attic, like I can't not think about it in those terms. But I don't know, like it was just a little too. It was a little too bizarre and like stuck on itself for me, and the things that it used to kind of elicit responses from the audience just seemed a little too heavy-handed. The message got lost for me, I'll say.
Joe.
I don't know. I have liked. I think I've only seen The Lobster and Killing of a Sacred Deer. I have not seen. What was the other one you were just talking about, Joe?
The Favorite.
The Favorite, yeah. But I definitely want to. I don't know. I've loved everything this guy does that I've seen, and I've really enjoyed those. And I want to say like 15 minutes in, I was making fun of John because like this just seemed like a weird softcore porn, like the worst softcore porn we've ever watched.
I mean, it's 30 seconds in. It opens on a
Yeah.
sex scene.
Yeah. But I mean, I was surprised that like you kind of get that monotone acting even through like subtitles. Like you can still understand what's going on there. I ended up really enjoying this. Like it's super weird. There's no sort of explanation as to why things are happening, but like I thought there were some like legitimately really funny moments in this that like had me laughing out loud. And there's a few like towards the end, there's a couple like twists that not twists, but like stuff that come out of nowhere that like completely shocked me. So I don't know. I ended up being a real big fan of this.
Casey.
So I've only seen The Favorite from Yorgos. I wasn't on the episodes for Lobster Killing Sacred Deer, so wasn't sure what I was getting into here. I would say by the time I finished the movie and the movie stopped playing, my first reaction was, oh God, that was awful. I don't know why I watched that. But at the same time, I can't stop thinking about it. And I keep going back and playing over parts of it, trying to piece it together. It's really fascinating how he's put this together. So I'm going to give the guy credit for that. I think I probably liked this more than I thought I did originally, and that's probably fine. That's probably his intention too. It's just a bizarre story, and it really kind of sucks you in to see where it's going. And it's just so bizarre to put it in there, or the way it's put together.
John.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad that I picked it because I had liked all the other films, and to different levels, and
You
and
would.
like I get that they're I consider them challenging movies, right? Like I consider like they're not movies you just like you're gonna kick back with a bud and like check out this movie. Like
Correct. They're not enjoyable.
Depends on what kind of bud you're talking about.
Well, but you're potentially, and like we should get it. Like you're potentially not even gonna like have a good time. Like they are challenging films in some ways.
Who wants to have a good time when they watch movies, really?
Well, no, I mean, but I've respected all of the films, and so I was really interested to go back and see the first, right? So, if I can draw a comparison to like one of the other staff picks that I've had in the past, and then like, when I think about directors that I love, like the directors that I love are the ones that make those movies where you're just like, what the fuck sometimes, like, you know, like where you're being asked to go on a, you know, a journey that is challenging, and but at the same time, like, you trust them because you trust the craft, you trust that they are putting the work in, you trust that you know, that they're putting something out there that has sort of significance to it. And I felt like this movie delivers on that. I think what I liked about it is, if you've seen the later film, so like if you've seen The Lobster, and that's like, because I think The Lobster was probably like the biggest before The Favorite. Sacred Deer kind of maybe was like a little bit in the middle, but this movie, you're gonna see this movie and immediately recognize some of the beats, right? Like, he has this style that he goes for with the acting and the way the actors are asked to kind of deliver lines. It turns out he has like a background in theater, and I think some of that comes through in the way that it's staged. But I also think the choices that he makes around camera placement and sort of the mise en scène, you know, the way he structures the frame is so crazy. And so I don't know, like, I appreciate it. I enjoy the kind of challenge of going, you know, down that road. And I am happy now that I've seen this film that kind of, you know, is part of this lineage that he's created. So I don't know, that's, for me, that's like the value in watching it, whether or not, like, this is not my favorite one of his movies. And like, there is shit that's going on in this movie that is super dark and grim. But I, like Joe, I actually thought a lot of it is, there's moments that are really fucking funny and weird and dark.
We haven't even mentioned that you've now made us watch no less than 3 movies since the outbreak happened that about people trapped in a house.
Yeah, well, we're talking about this on Slack today. Like, some high percentage of horror movies are about people trapped in houses and or other like areas. It is what it is. But
Literally. Literally not one of those we have watched outside of the ones that you have decided to pick.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
I fully, let me just start by saying this. I fully admit this dude's movies are just not for me. Like, I do not understand the appeal of this shtick. There are a few movies, and I realized this week because you tricked me, John, because you didn't tell me before we picked this, or you picked it, that I didn't find out till after I was like, whatever, fine, that this is Killing of a Sacred Deer guy. Because if you go back and listen to that show, if you're a patron, you can go back and listen. Maybe we can look up what number it was, Joe, on the episode list. There are a few movies that we've reviewed in the history of the show whose the mere mention of their name makes my blood boil. I hated The Killing of a Sacred Deer so much in my bones, in a way that I can't, in a way that, like, I don't get mad about movies. It's funny, we're going to talk later. We just you know, we played an old rerun, and I'm like listening to my younger self, and I'm like, I'm so fired up. I'm just like fired up about everything. I'm not that way anymore. But when you made me watch The Killing of a Sacred Deer last year or the year before, whenever the hell it was,
Episode 455.
Yeah, so it was like last year. It made me so mad. Anyway, I remember it was 2 years ago. This movie has the same thing that makes me angry about The Killing of a Sacred Deer, which is this fucking like wooden acting style. Because I get that it's like an affectation, John, but the problem with it, and actually you kind of nailed it with your word, is that it's very like performed. Like, the word I would use is pretentious. Like, it's like an intentionally kind of pretentious layer to put over the movie to make it, in my opinion, like even weirder than his stories already are. Personally, I think it detracts. I think there's bones in The Killing of a Sacred Deer of a pretty crazy movie that, to me, I can't even approach it because of the acting. And that is going to hit everybody different. I fully recognize that. Unfortunately, that acting style is here. Although it's super interesting for me to find out that this movie came first, because I really didn't like this movie. I didn't enjoy watching it, but I hated it less than Killing of a Sacred Deer, because I actually felt that the comedy, in a weird way, I don't think it all lands, like, at all. But when it does land in this movie, I think it's much stronger than Killing of a Sacred Deer. And I don't know if that's like a native language thing or the actors or what, but like there's a couple truly disturbing scenes in this movie. And I do think he's talented. Like, I actually think, I don't necessarily love his style, but he has a style, right? He's got a vision. He's executing on it. There are some deeply disturbing scenes in this movie. there's way too much weird sex. There's way too much like old man peeing and like hairy ass. The dad,
not enough if you ask
the
some.
dad has to be one of the most disgusting characters I've ever seen in a movie, and you have to see him nude and fornicating in the worst way possible several times.
What fornicating? What are you talking
That's what
about?
you can't call what he's doing. That's not making love, John. Okay, I think Joe would agree with me on that.
We all do it different ways. I would say that his sandals were the most offensive part of this entire thing.
No. There is
the sex didn't bother me, but those sandals.
There is a scene in this movie where his daughter is forced to cut his toenails. And I think the director should be arrested for putting that on film.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
it's
I
the
dry heaved a little bit at
in
that.
a movie full of vile things, that is by far the most vile thing. There's some things that really made me laugh, like, and I think it ramps up. Like the third act is nutty, and I think in particular the youngest daughter, and that's kind of where I'm more conflicted on this one than I was Killing of a Sacred Deer. F that movie. I don't ever want to think about it again. But there is stuff going on under the hood here, like the familial relationships. I think the most interesting stuff comes out in the. Like, I didn't really like the father actor in particular because I just found him repulsive, and that's probably that's the point. Obviously,
that is intentional.
No, I understand, but it was just too much.
That
It was too much for me. No, I'm just saying it was over the top in a way that I didn't like. But like, I think the most human moments, which is difficult because this is a movie with robot acting in it, are like the acting that the youngest sister is bringing to this. Her nuance of like, I think she nails better than anyone else in the movie this idea that she's been sheltered her entire life and is doing things performatively that she doesn't understand.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Disturbing, and it's like heartbreaking in a way. And, you know, again, to the acting, like if you have these people acting like normal people, this is like it goes from being a disturbing and funny movie to like a heartbreaking movie, I think. And to me, maybe more effective. It's whatever. I'm not going to like belabor that point. But anyway, I think she's fantastic. I'm trying to think of some of the really funny scenes. The one that I keep coming to is in the finale. This dance routine is one of the funniest things ever. Like, it's so bizarre. But like,
well, I don't know. Since we're already on a high note,
having a harpoon to.
Yeah.
Why? He puts fish in the pool. Why?
Oh, the other one.
High note though, to make the story a little more happier. Eric talking about how much he liked the younger daughter. I was surprised reading through, doing research on this. Poor lady, passed away in 2017.
Oh,
from a pulmonary embolism.
The daughter, the youngest daughter.
Yeah, she was like a big Greek punk singer. Apparently, she was a singer and punk musician, she passed away.
She's really good in this movie.
That's crazy.
No, Eric, I did remember really quickly before I forget, because I have memory of a goldfish. When the daughter, there's a whole thread about how he mentions another son that probably doesn't exist, and like he has all of these. Again, it's like The Village. He has all these little stories he tells them, and they're just increasingly insane. And the one story is, I think, that the brother had left and would then had to fend for himself on the other side of the fence, and so they throw him food and shit. But then at some point, like the wife tells the father that she's pregnant, and then randomly in the next scene they're at like dinner, and he totally deadpan announces that the mother is pregnant and she's gonna have 2 babies and 1 dog. He says this as deadpan as you possibly could. I lost it. But then he tells, it's so like transparent, because then he's like, well, if you do what you're supposed to do, maybe she won't have the baby. She has some weird line that he says, like,
he's like, don't argue about the dog.
Yeah.
And she said, well, if you don't like it, I'll try and hold off from having them as long as possible.
Like if their attitudes improve, they won't have the twins. Which I thought was hysterical. You're threatening the kids with like other siblings.
No, Eric, you just said something though that I don't know that I necessarily thought about it in this way, but the way you phrased it, I think is, in any event, the affectation of the actors, right? Like whether you want to call him robot is like a little, that's like harsh.
No. I really think he it's almost Kubrickian in that like Kubrick has people deliver, but Kubrick is a better filmmaker. But he has people deliver lines in a way that feels intentionally removed from the humanity of the situation.
Well, no, and that's exactly the point I was going to make. I think calling it robot makes it sound like they're like, I am delivering lines. Like that's not what it is.
No, it is that. That is what it is.
No,
I'm not
John,
exaggerating.
they don't move their hands like that.
Literally, they cut to a character and they're like, beep, boop.
The point I was going to make is like, if you compare this to, I'm trying to think of like, so if you actually were to step back and just look at like what is happening in this movie, it's one of the darkest fucking movies that you would have ever seen.
It is
right?
very dark, yeah.
But the fact that what he does, like the choice that he makes as a filmmaker is to give you the out of sort of reminding you constantly that it's a film by having it feel more affected, right? And so like the actors are delivering lines and acting in a way that at least it actually, I think, is a service to the audience, because to your point, you said, I think the way you phrased it is like it might have been more effective. I actually think it might be like almost unwatchable because it would be so brutal. If and the flip side is, and the way that a lot of other directors or other filmmakers go at this is something like The Room. I think it's a Room or whatever, like where you make it like redemptive, right? And you make it like, yeah, things are dark, but don't worry, there's good shit at the end. And it's like there's no good shit at the end here.
No,
it's all bad.
Bad to worse.
And so
And I didn't.
sorry, just really to finish.
No,
Like the affectation like allows him actually to like walk you down a darker path than like a movie would then a filmmaker would probably have the balls to do, honestly, because no one would want to watch that movie if it was that dark. So yeah.
So I never knew, like I said, I'm not real familiar with all of Yorgos' films, so I wasn't aware that was like a shtick of his with that affectation and stuff like that. But for me, the parents are weird enough to do this to their kids. They're going to be weirdos anyways, so the fact that they're talking slow and stilted and stuff just seems like it's par for the course.
I also think that works right in this film, because they're all so fucking weird that like
they're obviously not normal.
Say, so
I think it's weird that like I actually didn't realize it was this director until like 20 minutes in, and when I think you mentioned it over chat, John. But like I'm watching it, and it's all subtitles. It's in what, Greek? Is that what it's in?
Yeah.
I'm watching it and I'm like, I don't know what these guys are saying, but this sounds like super monotone. Like
well,
Lobster.
But that's the thing is like the affect is so extreme that even through subtitles, it comes through like clear as a bell.
Which I kind of love. Like, I think it's amazing that like he can get that across even with like something we don't understand what's being said.
It's interesting. Like yes, it's a challenging movie. I think in some ways that's a kind of like an argument that's set up to like listen, it's not that I don't want to be challenged in movies, but I will admit that like I have a line of like, you got to give me something, and this movie intentionally gives you nothing. There's no respite. There's no safe space. It is a revolting movie. Like, to me, a deeply revolting movie on many levels.
Well, I think
it's just too much for me.
The problem for me was, I'm with you. I think that the problem for me was that, you're supposed to be like seeing this fabrication of reality within this family and how like, controlled the family is and. And there's no like, I don't know, the underlying I don't know, the lines that connect these people aren't strong enough for me to be like, okay, I'm 100% behind this plot. I don't know. It seemed like it was trying to push buttons just for the sake of pushing buttons.
Well,
and
yes, right.
So I think, and this is something I wanted to talk about a little bit as a parent, to watch this movie. One thing that's really tough to imagine and see this, is like these kids as like infants and toddlers. Like my kids are all young. It's these parents have, in theory, in the universe of this film, they've raised these. The film is presented as five adults living in a house, but you're meant to believe that they've raised these kids from like infancy to be like this, and like knowing what it's like to have an infant and to like it does. I don't know. It's hard to believe, but it's like if you make that is like the leap that the film asks you to make, I think, and anyone who's kind of like been through that will kind of but at the same time, it's like once you get over it, if you're willing to kind of look past it, I don't know. But yeah, I totally understand.
And I agree with you because I mean, even the mom, like, you know, there's some moments where the mom doesn't seem 100% like behind what's happening, but then later in the movie you see that she's 100% on board. Like she's barking like a dog, like the other two children, and you're just like, this whole family is just completely nuts. Like
I
was wondering with the mom too, though, of how much she's abused like the kids.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's valid. I mean, I think we talk about the stuff that was funny, and Cece just kind of brought it up, like at one point this entire family is barking like dogs because they're all terrified of cats, and like there's this running theme, and you get it pretty early where the family or the parents have obviously taught their children that certain words mean other things.
Yeah,
and like
that's like the second scene. Yeah.
The whole way. What was the word? What's the word? Pussy, right?
Yeah, well, I forget what that. Oh, pussy meant to like
turn the lights off or something.
Turn off or something. And the other one was licking her keyboard.
We're getting into some real kiss is kill situation here. Some real horseshit.
And like that in general cracks me up. And then you get this scene where they're at dinner and the father's like, "Do you want to listen to your grandfather sing?" And he puts on a Frank Sinatra record. And starts like
that was another funny moment for sure when he's telling them that these random Greek people that Frank Sinatra was their grandfather,
but also he's translating the song because what is it that in other words, please be true or whatever that song is. He's translating it, but like translating it to sound like he's preaching to like stay inside the house to be safe. Like
that might have been the best scene.
That got me. And then earlier when like he's going to check on his dog's training and he's just like yelling the dog's name over and over and the dog's not even like looking at him, I was like hunched over crying.
Well, the way that was framed was so great because it's like all these Doberman pinchers. And he's just like, you're seeing him yell, and then he cuts.
It's like this adorable Cocker Spaniel or something.
Like this tiny little dog. Oh man.
John, can you explain like the last 20 minutes of this movie to me?
In graphic detail, John.
Not that part. I really don't want to hear you explain that part.
Tell me how hand jobs work, John.
No, I mean, look, like there's.
I'll tell you what, Joe. They don't work like that. That's how you get chafing.
You never met my high school girlfriend.
Oh, my Lord. All right.
It's a joke, John. I didn't date in high school.
So I think look, there's a.
It's well documented, John.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for 12 years.
I didn't know the gentle touch of a lady until college.
That's not true. There was that one that you outed on the show that one time.
But that was, I think I had graduated. I think that was the summer of my senior year.
Summer of love.
Is that when you watched The Craft?
No. Trust me, there was nobody else there. That was strictly a solo mission.
You brought it up. All right.
Speaking of, I'm sorry, I don't mean to derail, but they just released an entire Funko Pops line of crafts.
Yeah, right after we did the show. Yeah.
I did pre-order my what the heck's her name?
You say it. You say
it. Yes, yeah. July 1st, she will be in my room with me.
What's her name, Joe?
Veruca Salt. I think.
Yes, that's it. John.
All right, let's talk about the end of this movie. So, Eric, one thing that you may have been not explicitly asking about, but this movie it does not have an explicit 3-act structure, right? Like this doesn't.
You don't say.
This doesn't go. There's no hero's journey
no,
here.
Really not.
But I do think probably by like sort of the midpoint, it's not obvious necessarily, but the oldest daughter sort of becomes, to a certain extent, the focal point of the film, insofar as the plot is advancing. Like insofar as there is like sort of action or a challenge to be overcome, it really it kind of falls to her to be the one who decides she's going to rebel. And so like you see that some of it is instigated by the security guard that is brought in for the brother to have sex with, but she starts to interact with the oldest daughter. sexually, but there's like some friendship potential there.
What do you call it, John? Interacting.
Joe, come on, man. Just let me get through this. No, but I mean, like, so she gives her a couple of like Hollywood films, and like to me, that was the other like my favorite part of this movie is trying to figure out what movies she was watching. Like, did you guys? I mean, there's one of them that's super obvious. She gets Rocky because she's like quoting Creed and Rocky. There's and then she's like doing all this dialogue from Jaws, and then there was one other movie I can't remember now, but she's doing them and like she's like attacking the brother while he's in the pool. I mean, that shit was like really crazy. But so she starts to get exposed to the concept of the outside world, and that leads her to question her parents. And you see the oldest daughter begin to sort of grab things and like try to explore within the confines of their home. There comes a time where she is the security guard is cut off from the family by the father because of shit that went down.
By cut off, you mean first the dad beats the shit out of the daughter by taping a VHS tape. He goes, "Give me the tape," and she's like, and you're not really sure what's going on. Yeah. And he takes this like packaging tape and he wraps it tightly around his hand, so he's got like a VHS hand basically, and just beats the shit out of her with this thing, which is like really messed up. Like, that
was a hell of a shot, though, too, the way they shot that, because
it was like all one
you're
shot.
Watching him wrap the tape, and then you just happen to notice his thumb's wrapped into it, too, and then it's before he's smacking her with it, and it just as you see his thumb getting taped in, you're like, oh shit, he's gonna hit her with it.
Then he leaves the house and he goes to the security guard lady and he pummels her with a VCR.
Yeah. No, I mean that is like where, I mean, this film gets to a pretty graphic place. I mean, violently.
Can you tell me why he was having her have sex with his son?
Because he was of the IMDb says it was because he was of the age, and so they're keeping that.
Right, but doesn't that like just jeopardize his whole? I mean, obviously it does, right? Because that's what happens in the movie. Like, it's just weird to me that they'd be so tied off, but he'd bring somebody in, because then when that person's not around, he's like, screw it, like bone your sister.
Well, Dad knows he's going to get urges, and so he was trying to bring somebody in, come up with the process and everything to keep him from leaving.
Casey, please don't ever say urges again. Thank you.
No, I mean, but I think that look, like, it's all fucking demented logic, right? Like, these are child abusers, fucking crazy people. To a certain extent, you just have to accept that their rational decision-making kind of goes out the window. Where it gets super fucked up is that when they cut off the security guard, the father and mother sit down and they're like, well, I guess now we have to have the son have sex with one of his sisters. And there's a moment where they're like, well, we'll let him pick. And so there's a sequence where they're all in the bathroom together as adults, which, again, like, this is where the affectation sort of gives you an out, because you're like, I'm watching a movie. This is not real. But that does lead to a scene where the older sister and then the brother have sex. And it's basically immediately following that she kind of puts in place this plan to escape the house. And so that's really the end of the film. And the denouement is her closing herself in the car trunk, because the car is the only way they can get out of the house. That's what they've been told. So she knows that she has to be in the car to get outside of the grounds. And she hides there. The family all searches for her. They don't find her, and they go to bed. They leave her there, and the father drives out the next day to go to work. And the close of the film, I mean, and this is where the film ends on this super grim note, spoiler alert, I guess, but we've come this far. The film ends on a shot of the car for, I don't know, a minute. I mean, the film has, sort of to Casey's point earlier about the tape wrapping sequence, Yorgos loves the long shot, right? So there's a lot of very long takes. We see it with the dance sequence. We see it with the tape wrapping. I mean, it happens throughout the film. And in this case, we have a long take of this trunk not opening. You keep waiting for it, and you're like, Jesus Christ.
So we're to believe that she's dead, or she can't.
Yeah.
Why did she die? Because she's been in there too long. Like, I just didn't really.
Well, did you mention, John? Like, the whole setup is that they've told these kids that they're not going to be able to leave the house, or they can't leave the grounds until they're
in the car. Oh,
Yeah.
until the oh no, I did not even hit on the Dogtooth piece.
Yeah.
So yeah, they kind of hit. They don't hit, but like we're at a dinner at one point, and they explain that like the kids can't leave, or you can't leave the property until your tooth falls out, like one of the front teeth. Doesn't matter which one, like on either side, which doesn't happen when you're adult. So they're pretty much telling
they
these
say
kids,
it has to grow back. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the kids obviously believe this. So the one daughter that's trying to get out, this scene, like I seriously, like I felt nauseous watching it. Like the sound, she pretty much takes a like a weight that you would use for like exercising and just punches herself in the face until the tooth comes out. And just like, I don't know what they were using. Like it sounded like punching a steak or something, but like that sound was so awful. Like we've seen a lot of stuff on this show, but like that really disturbed me.
I really kind of liked her performance overall too of that oldest sister, especially as she started to unravel. It was pretty intense, and there was sometimes like when she took a swipe at the brother with the kitchen knife and stuff like that. You're like, what the hell is she gonna do?
I loved how so she takes that swipe, right? This was like one of these small things in this film that I loved that I can't explain necessarily, but like she cuts the brother, and then throughout the rest of the film, all of the siblings have bandages
the
same
on their
cut.
forearms.
Like at different
Like,
places. Yeah,
it's just so weird. I don't know. I love that shit. But yeah, it does end on a super grim note. I think that's one of the challenges of the film is like you don't have a hero, you don't have an anchor to hold on to as the viewer. She does become that person very late in the film, and it's where that scene that Joe describes is super awkward. On the flip side, or not awkward, but gruesome. But on the flip side, the dance sequence, I loved it so much. For like, the performance is so ballsy, you know. Like I don't know, like I don't know. You don't see films like this, right? Like that's what I appreciate about it. That's why I value having watched it. Is that it's fucking unique in that way.
I'll give you that, I guess. And we got some other stuff going on. So, unless there's anything other moments you guys want to bring up.
I'll just ask real quick. So did every time a plane flew over, Bob ran out and said it fell and threw a plane in the backyard, a toy plane, just so that they think the plane fell? Am I understanding that right?
That's what I interpreted it.
Yeah, because at one point the daughter says like, "Oh, when it falls, I want this one" or something.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was every plane, but yeah, I don't know. The plane.
Well, it's happened at least twice because brother is playing with one, and then we saw mom come out in a scene after that and throw one. So, and they mentioned the plane that was flying over like at the beginning of the film.
I do like
watch for it to see if it falls.
I do like the idea though that they have to like stock up on plane toys.
Yes.
That's another loophole, John. What if they find all those planes in the house? You know.
Hey, how do you know Dad's factory doesn't make toy planes?
Twist.
There you go.
sure.
The dad. I will never get the vision of his disgusting hairy ass out of my head. And him just going in with no foreplay, just diving in, the worst.
The thing I'll say is like I actually felt like the parents' relationship was like not crazy. Like it.
No, it was crazy, John. Are you insane?
No, but like
they seem to love each other.
Did they?
The two most like natural, like that was like the most natural relationship in the film, if I can just put it that way, I guess.
Sure.
Well,
like
yeah, in comparison, for sure.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean that. I guess in a film of
nothing was natural. Nothing was natural about the way they were doing that, John.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Would you recommend this, Cece?
No.
Joe.
Yes, I definitely would.
Casey.
I'd probably go yes.
John.
I'm gonna go yes too.
I think Cece and I are on the right side of history here by saying no. This is the kind of movie. This is how I think of this. This is the kind of movie that people on quote unquote film Twitter like put in their bio to sound smart, and that's pretty much all you need to know about it. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for Dogtooth. Let's take a quick break and do some fan mail.
Hey
ever wonder why kids get blamed for everything just because their parents can't explain it?
Hey, I didn't do anything.
You did, mister.
The reason's right under your bed.
Hey, bud, the name's Maurice, and I'll catch you later. What goes on down there is every kid's fantasy. It's magic. Right? No teachers, no rules, no homework. And the best part is, you don't see any parents telling the kids what they can't eat. We're the reason kids get locked in their rooms. We're the reason brothers hate their sisters. We're also the reason that parents send their kids back to town.
Little monster. Fred Savage, Howie Mandel. They act up when the sun goes down.
Hi, I'm Denise Crosby from Pet Cemetery and Mortuary and The Walking Dead, and you are listening to Bloody Good Horror.
Send feedback to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or on Twitter using hashtag AskBGH. Join Patreon to get back episodes and much more. Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror.
John Stars. Oh,
Eric.
bumped my mic. We're gonna play a little free association here, John. I am going to send you this picture of Joe's Animal Crossing avatar, and I want you to describe it to the audience.
I'm waiting with bated breath.
It's in the chat.
Where should I?
It's in the chat.
Oh, okay.
CC.
Oh, yeah.
I'm free to be who I want to be here.
How do you feel about that, John? How's that make you feel?
It's got.
It's kind of like a Yorgos movie, isn't it?
Yorgos would salute this. I think he would. There would be a tip of the cap. There are, I don't know, big sunglasses, a sailor's shirt with a
like a little boy sailor shirt. Yes,
little boy sailor shirt. Are those pumpkin?
No,
pumpkin
they're just
shorts?
polka dots.
And then whatever that hat is, I don't know what that thing's called.
it's like a pork pie hat.
Pork pie,
Right?
yes, that could be. Yeah,
Casey,
that could be right.
seems like something you would know.
And then red shoes, like sort of Wizard of Oz red shoes.
Sort of like lady shoes, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just leave it at Wizard of Oz red.
I already
shoes.
know the answer to this question because Jamie confirmed it for me on our Slack. So,
Straw boater hat is
okay.
The name of the hat.
What is a pork pie?
Yeah, no,
hat,
it's not a pork pie. It's shaped like a pork pie hat. That's like the
okay, it's a little fancy. Pork pie's a little fancier.
Yeah, pork pie is like the.
This is like it's the 4th of July and they're handing out straw hats and it's 1875 or something.
Yeah, pork pie hats are for hipster douchebags. This is for barbershop quartet.
Yes, exactly. Sure. Anyway, how's your Animal Crossing journey going, Joe? I'm not gonna lie, I cannot believe you're still playing.
I can't believe either.
You complain about it daily, but you're still there. You're still on Slack.
I honestly, it's becoming an obsession, and it's getting out of hand. I'm gonna need to cut the cord.
It's great, man. I find it so relaxing. There's nothing I needed more during this everything happening right now than just this nice little meditative escape.
I gotta get out of the turnip game. Like
the problem is you're stressing yourself out about it. It's not a game you can lose, Joe.
Well, honestly, like this week when I started using that turnip exchange, like now I'm totally fine.
Yeah,
like,
because
now
there's
that
no
I know
pressure.
I have that to fall back on.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Exactly. If you are playing Animal Crossing and you want to get in on this Joe AC action, patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror. Check it out. You can get on Slack. Last week, we ran a rerun of the Chernobyl Diaries, Joe, and I heard this social media story that somehow I did not remember, but it's incredible. Do you want to talk about this time that you somehow were reported to PETA by Corey Haim fans?
Well, I did not remember it, but like the moment it came up on the show, like it definitely like came flooding back. Like there was when was this episode? It was like 8 years ago or something that we did this movie, right?
That sounds accurate.
2012.
But there was
so yes, yeah.
There was like a very small group, I think led by a couple women, trying to get Corey Haim's like star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and like they were just constantly tagging us and other horror sites, like trying to get us to promote it for them, and like I this went on for like weeks, if not like months, and at a certain point, like I just jokingly didn't. I don't even think I replied. I just said like, every time someone asked Corey Haim get on the Walk of Fame, like we club a baby seal or something, like a stupid joke.
It's a hacky joke.
And they like tagged us and like pretty much.
I chuckled when I heard it this time.
Yeah,
so.
Joe, they snitch tagged you to PETA is what they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's that movie? Was it UHF or RoboCop where they're gonna club a baby seal to make a deal?
I don't know. It's an
like,
80s joke, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought it was funny. And so yeah, they tagged us to,
You're an
to
80s
PETA.
kid, Joe.
Yeah, I just appreciate to know that like even in 2012, Joe was up to social media shenanigans. And what I'd really want to know, Joe, is your reaction to your voice in these shows. Like I find you creepily sedated. It's like you say the same things and you make the same jokes, but you're like an actor in a Yorgos movie almost compared to now.
What surprised me was I sounded sedated.
It's not an affectation. That's just how they were back then.
You guys sounded so lively.
I was fucking fired up in that show, Joe.
We all sounded like very young.
Yeah, just full of piss and vinegar and ready to take on the world.
And I
had
did.
no children to bring me down.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It was definitely based on our commentary. It was definitely a very pre-get a daughter world for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. And then the conversation about if the bear was real or not, which I did some research on after re-listening to the episode, and according to a few sources, it was very much a real bear.
Okay, a few sources. It was like ChernobylDiaries.wikifan.com or some horseshit website. Yeah, no, Joe, I don't think so.
The definitive source of news on Chernobyl Diaries.
So somebody mentioned that somebody was telling us on Slack that the DVD has a 60-second like fake commercial for like Yuri's tours or something. I couldn't find. It's not on YouTube. What in this day and age? What isn't on YouTube? So, John, I think we might need to commandeer some BGH funds to order this Blu-ray so I can rectify that. Just for posterity's sake, you know.
No, I mean like we should do the service of putting it on YouTube.
Exactly.
What I would say.
That's what I'm saying.
I legitimately want to go back and rewatch this movie because
I think I hated it based on what I said about it. I didn't remember this, but I hated it.
Yeah, I think I was the only one that recommended it.
CC.
Yes.
People who are looking to read things now can join the Bloody Good Horror Book Club. Do you know what's going on there right now?
Yes, our wonderful friend Alyssa is in control of that right now, and she has everyone reading The Terror by Dan Simmons, which is also a series on Hulu, which was really good. So check that out. You can find Goodreads, the book club on Goodreads. Just look for the BGH book club, and you can also get to it from our website, or you can be on the Slack channel.
Yeah, so you can jump into Goodreads for free, and people are on there, and also there's more discussion that happens on Slack, so you can do that as well. Great. Thank you for that, Cece. Books. You know what I have not done since... actually, that's not true. I have not read a single whole book this year, I don't think, actually. I have been thumbing through... I gave up on The Shining. It's too long. Can't do it. I have a book on the making of the original Doom that's actually really entertaining, and I've been reading that like 5 pages at a time on Sunday, so I'll finish that next year sometime.
each Sunday you read like...
I sit down... Well, I don't want to read at night because frankly, if I have free time at night, I'm either working on music or I am playing Animal Crossing. And so I try to open it up like Sunday afternoons when I'm like hanging out with the kids, but you know how that goes, John.
I'm familiar.
All right, guys. No Twitter tonight. We didn't want to clog social media with our dumb posts with everything going on, but we did have some emails in the hopper. So here we go. info@bloodygoodhorror.com. Hi there, BGH. This is from Angie. Just wondering if any of you have seen Blood Machines yet on Shudder. It sent me into a rabbit hole of Carpenter Brute's music and videos. Amazing stuff. 80s inspired synthwave with crazy horror and sci-fi visuals. Thought it would be up Eric's alley. Thanks for still putting out a great podcast even during these uncertain times. Stay spooky, Angie. Thank you, Angie. I need to watch. Like, unfortunately I'm kind of stuck on a comfort food treadmill right now, and so I'm mostly watching things I've seen, but I really, really need to see Blood Machines. It looks incredible. And I'm a huge fan of Carpenter Brute. I sent her an email about this because I was excited. But, John, have you listened to Carpenter Brute?
No.
They're like a French 80s synthwave band, very inspired by like horror movies. It's very good stuff.
Okay.
You should check it out.
Duly noted.
Yeah. Your hair, I was trying to think of a Euro joke because of your hair, but I don't really have it.
Oh.
But you're looking a little Euro these days.
You don't have your fastball tonight. I get it. It's okay. I'm not going to hold that against you.
Next up, Caitlin. I don't know if anyone's watched Space Force on Netflix yet, but in one episode, they say they should have something like a space lawyer, and a general says there's no such thing. And I really think Adam's calling is coming full circle. Adam Space Lawyer.
Adam Space Lawyer.
He has a
I have
podcast.
watched. We finished it yesterday, and it is delightful.
Wait, it's out, the whole thing?
Yeah, it came out last Friday.
Oh, shit. All right, I got to get on this.
Not only does a space lawyer exist, but he has a podcast called Space Lawyers.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It's good. It's very good. I think everyone expects it to be Michael Scott, like in the army, and it's not.
Well, it's tough for him, right? That was such a
Yeah.
distinct character. Casey, what the F is going on with your video, dude?
Oh, you just got green.
You're bright green.
It also looked like
You
he had a patch over his eye.
You smoked yourself out, and now you've gone full green.
I don't know.
You're back.
Mine looks far normal.
Dude,
And that
what if
wasn't
you
the
had
green
just like
stuff.
disappeared after that happened?
They've gone.
That would have been spooky.
They've gone plaid.
Yeah.
It's a Spaceballs joke, Joe. 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm well aware.
Next up, Professor Plumpkin joining us tonight. This, of course, John, your old professor at Duke. You two have what you might call a close relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And he
Dear
seeks,
and beloved.
He seeks guidance from you occasionally.
Oh.
This I like because
he provides guidance. I was gonna say.
I like this because he's expanding his repertoire a little bit, and I feel like this email is actually more directed at Cece. It's addressed to you,
good.
John, but I think Cece's gonna appreciate the content. I need to drink some water first.
Cece, we should also note Cece is doing a graduate degree right now, I believe. So,
well, she may want to get in touch because he seems to know some stuff. So listen,
yeah. There you go. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
I hope you all are well. Actually, he says Jonathan. I hope you are well. I guess he doesn't hope anybody else is.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
The rest of us.
Since
I
I
refuse to listen to this.
Since I last wrote to you,
Well, that dead horse he's beaten as well.
Since Joe, this is a curveball. You might enjoy this. Since I last wrote to you, I have undertaken an enterprise that may have been imbecilic, but I must see it through. With my continued quarantine in my writing cabin, I came across a text that outlined a ritual wherein I might earn audience with my guardian angel. With all my secluded free time, I thought this might be an exercise worthy of my curious intellect. I have come to realize that this ritual is known by another title, the Headless Invocation. My copy of the Journal of the Western Mystery Tradition has led me through a grueling process of study and meditation that has outstripped my scholarship. As a person of knowledge, rather than spirituality, I fear I may not have taken the instructions on ritual cleansing as serious as I should have, as my stock of wine turned to vinegar overnight last week, and I can no longer sleep with the sounds of gnawing on my bed and the strong smell of carrion flesh that permeates my room. I mostly like these letters because
it's painting a picture.
I mostly like these letters because it allows me to bust out my masterpiece theater reading style. My internet service has become very spotty since I opened the 4th chamber in phase 3 of the invocation, so I hope this reaches you. I will see this through, but have already begun to lose my recognition of lucid thought. My bones burn now, and I hear the master command my will. I no longer remember the sun. Let the mindless sleep. We will all be scorned. All hail the great dragon, Bunet. I don't know how to say that. There's a tilde on it. Professor Plumpkin, whose title is now Shadebringer of the 12th Legion. So there you go. He may be gone. He may be gone.
Impressive.
He may be lost to us forever, John. He might have been sucked into some
Yeah.
vortex.
What a
Doesn't
shame
sound
that
like
would be.
Fuck you, Joe. That's
Oh.
all I gotta say. Professor Plumpkin is the only. The thought of someday another Professor Plumpkin email coming in is like number 2 on the list of things keeping me going right now.
It's carrying Eric right now.
Yeah.
No, it's whew. We went on a journey.
There you go. I'm not sure if he has peed his pants yet. If I learned anything from that movie we watched that I can't remember the name of, A Dark Song.
Huh?
I was one of the rich. Remember, she like sits in the. She can't leave the circle, so she just has to like continually pee herself.
Oh, shaved his back.
Yeah, back shaving magic. That's right. The dad in this movie that we did tonight. There's all kind of magic on that guy's back.
You got a real thing. I mean,
All the way down his ass. It's disgusting. It's black.
Eric, I think you're in for a rude awakening as your years get up there.
I'm not that. I'm like that. He's no. I'm not. I'm listen. No, that's all I gotta say. He's next level.
He's something.
Yeah, I don't think John has to worry about that either, since he's got mostly clear hair.
Nah. I think we're gonna be.
Clear hair.
I'm still working on my second chest hair.
John-
Guys, so.
John is John's naturally aerodynamic. So
Yeah.
My back looks like someone took a cattle prod to a gorilla.
like splotchy.
Yeah, it's awful.
That's surprising because you're fair haired. I'm surprised to find out that you're.
I don't know what's going on back there.
Yeah.
I'm 42.
I
I'm
listen.
married,
I
but-
definitely have more
Yeah.
than I used to, but nowhere. This guy is I mean, mostly like. Also, I had to look at his wiener multiple times. Like, I don't need to see that situation.
Yo, that is just the human form, Eric. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're rebelling
I
against.
understand that, but I'm with Eric. Like, at least the emotion. Like, it was literally him just on the sofa, smushed up. Like,
Smushed up.
John, Schnars, did you really just order me a copy of the Chernobyl Diaries?
Yeah, bro.
Amazing.
That's on its way.
This is why you're my sugar. This is why you're my sugar daddy.
It
Love
is very confusing, by the way, trying to buy DVDs on Amazon to understand like what's region.
Did you check?
approved.
Did you check to make sure it has
I
the
think
special
we're good.
features, John?
I think we're
Okay.
good.
Thank God.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We don't know what we're doing next week. I don't think we've even talked about it, but we are doing a show.
Blood Machines.
We could. I gotta look because it may be like a multi-part series or something, but I wouldn't be against it because I know the first part of it that's out was only like 50 minutes or something. That was my only concern, but
yeah, I don't want to do that.
we'll look into it. We'll figure it out.
Let's just do Space Force and call it a day.
No.
We're back in the saddle. We've gone through an entire round of staff picks, and dare I say, I wouldn't be shocked if we are able to do it again this year. So you guys should probably.
We didn't even mention that John was torn between this movie and Critters. Those were the two.
Yeah, because God forbid we have a good time.
Oh, stop
Right?
it. We've had plenty of good times.
I mean, speaking of good time, though, if we're going to do Space Force for the show, I'm going to dig my heels in and say we got to do Scoob before we do Space Force.
Oh my
No.
god, it's so heartwarming.
False.
Such a-
It's
I
such a
thought
good
you
movie.
just tried to make a dig joke, Casey.
No,
I thought you said Dick too, for the record.
Yeah.
no, Scoob. Scoob
He's
is a
gonna dig his
fantastic
heels
movie. I
in.
loved it.
Come on, guys.
I'm gonna dick my
Get your
heels.
head up. Nick.
Dick my.
Oh, Dick,
John.
Lord.
Dick
John,
my
you just
heels.
made us watch 90 minutes of like
Yeah.
incest. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
I think
Christ.
Scoob is pretty harmless in comparison.
I don't know.
Hey,
be honest.
I'm down to watch Scoob for sure.
When I sat down at my desk today, I did not expect to see a hand job. But here we are.
Okay.
Incest.
All right, guys. Bloody Good Horror. We're not sure what we're doing next week. Keep an eye on Twitter. We're not gonna be super active on Twitter for the time being, just with everything going on. But if you're on Slack, you get in BGH Big Show, and we're always talking about what we're doing next. So yeah, we're happy to be back, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
See you.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.